Hello Scorpio, thank you very much for joining me in the beautiful Bug Zoo in India. Thank you very much. These are the Himalayan mountains. It's really beautiful here and I'm really happy to be. So let's talk about you in June. Okay, so in June I feel that Scorpio needs to get things over and done with, but at the same time they don't understand that what they've been knowing to be true is not so. Perhaps you have designed or attached yourself to a person or a purpose or some kind of a play with life, a game with life, which is not going to give you any more. And you kind of understand that it's not going to. So why? Because sometimes with Scorpio what happens is it creates a short circuit. It believes something so strong and so hard and it wants it so badly that it's able to do anything or cross any boundary, you know, cross any Rubicon to create it as a possibility. And when we see you do this, we can also understand that when you're putting so much of yourself into something, when you're throwing yourself at somebody or you're throwing yourself at something so harshly, that is just not because you want it. It's sometimes because you just have a lot of power, hunger or a struggle with yourself. And sometimes what Scorpio will do is they'll create a struggle with themselves in order to get themselves somewhere or somebody, just to see what they can do. Just to show themselves how far they can take their body, just to show how far they can take their relationships with people. And this is not so good for you because sometimes there's certain times of the year where you're meant to return to yourself and surrender. And this is this type of time and this is this type of year. As for also year Pig, if you are a year Pig and you're born in November, this is especially for you. So it's a very nice time to let go and surrender. What you've got going on now, Scorpio, is good. It is not that it's bad. It's just that it's not going to be like this solved. It's not going to be something that's going to follow through unless you can see the bigger picture of life. If you are very, very focused on a person or a phenomena or something that you really want to get done, you might understand later that what you've been doing is surrounding yourself with comparisons or a level of segregation maybe, or perhaps you've been pushing yourself into a box or a new frontier so much that you actually forgot who you were. And this is for those who have been working too hard or trying very hard with a person. Let it go now. So before June is over, there should be already a letting go. By the time we swing into May the 29th, 30th, there should be already an understanding of what that is. You must already understand, okay, this person I've been haunting, and they actually have no real clue as to who I am. Or, okay, this project has been going well, but I've been working so hard, I haven't slept in a long time. So with you and yourself, because in Gemini we become dual, and especially for you because it's your 8th house, with you and yourself, there has to be a need to trust something or somebody to an extent where you can just let go. So if you've got that somebody or that someplace during this particular year, especially this month, where you can just let go and flop, where you don't have to do anything, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to say anymore, and you definitely don't need to work so hard. If you can generate those types of people more often, or these types of stories where you can just flop and relate to yourself as if there was no real purpose for you, we would love it, and I feel we would also trust it. So when you got friends and family, or if you are really dependent on other people to look at you and to know who you are for your job, it's a really nice time to show yourself that you can just flop and relax, and that will understand itself with us as well. We'll also want you to do more of who you are, to become more clear for yourself, because when we see a Scorpio relax during this time, we want you to commemorate us, we want you to touch us, and we want you to know us. So June does very, very well with Scorpios who are so relaxed that they don't even know which way is up and which way is down. If you don't feel that you can, and there is something that is a constant fight, or you're constantly on a roll with somebody or something that you are in a comparison with, like say you are in comparison with another person, and for example you're fighting them, they're fighting you, and you're constantly playing this game where you're dancing around each other, and maybe you think it's really hot, or you think it's really, really cute, or it's really interesting, or it's really healthy to be competitive. this has to go. So if you're especially one of these people who have connected to competition in such a way where there is no further way out, you know, like say for example you are a car salesman and every day you've got to meet a certain quota, you've got to every week sell this much money worth of cars, or if you are maybe a woman who's really competitive with another woman, or you really want to compete with your mate and play a funny game of power, it's a really good chance to stop and to try to start over. At the same time, as it is not so good to do things where you are too competitive or too intense, it is also really nice to channel through the new. It is actually really interesting to start something completely different from what you've done before. But unless you're ready, you know, unless you're ready, it's not going to grant you very much. Because we are in your 12th house, Jupiter, it's not a good time to trust something that's not okay. So it's not very, very safe to try and do something completely different. But when you are very, very vulnerable and you see yourself as tired and you see that there is no other way, and perhaps you are very, very you know, cunning about this other thing that you're doing, and you see that it's becoming like a dead end, and you say, oh God, please give me something else to do. I'll try anything. I'll do anything. I would really like to see what this new chance or this new possibility is. And you start something completely different. Say, for example, if you used to do makeup artistry and hair, perhaps it's a really interesting frontier to start doing kids' parties and doing makeup for children, especially for Scorpio ascendants, because they're usually placed in situations that are very strange. If you are, for example, an accountant and you are seeing that you're way too competitive in this field and you're actually not sleeping at night because you're thinking every day about your job, about getting ahead, or about the collective where you work, it's a really amazing time to just say, hey, you know, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to do mantras and meditation. I'm going to do that for 2 or 3 weeks just to see how far I get there. So for me, as a Scorpio ascendant in my natural chart, maybe I'll do yoga. Maybe I'll do a yoga teacher's course. I don't know. I may do something completely different. And it is a very, very good time to ask also yourself, how far did you really want to take the thing that you're getting too far? So for some of us Scorpios, at times we do the thing to excess because we just don't know any other thing to do, and we get really bored. Like, we get really bored, and I've been the same. The way that I write and the way that I speak sometimes is because I can't not, and it's become a compulsion. And perhaps for you, or you know, for somebody else, it might be over the top, what I've done with myself on this channel, or what I've done with my writings. And that is true, that is true. Sometimes for a Scorpio, you've got to get another person's opinion. If you are stuck, if you are somebody who is very, very interested in what other people do and what other people think and what other people say, get opinions. It's a really interesting time to also get impartial opinions of people who don't actually know who you are and don't really mind if you're going to stick around or not. So people that just met you, maybe if you've written a book, say for example, give that book to a person who has never met you, and say, this is just from some person, I just picked up this, I don't actually know what this is. Give them the book as if it is not yours, and see their face as they flick through the pages. Perhaps they'll say, oh my gosh, this is terrible, or maybe they'll say, this is really good, I just don't feel that you should have done this or that. So when you get an impartial opinion on your work from somebody else, it's a very interesting idea just during the month of June to listen as to what people are saying. Perhaps as you show your music, not saying who the music is from. People will say, oh, that's too intense, oh, I can't listen to this, I can't. And just don't take it the harsh way, just make it an easy way out for you this month, because what you can do sometimes during this amazing gift-giving time is fight. And during this particular type of year as well, you might actually push yourself to such a limit that you don't even know who you are anymore. And sometimes Scorpio can, because we are in a very, very solidifying year for your psyche, sometimes you can push yourself to a very large extent. You can push yourself to a big limit. And then when that limit is over the edge, when you're over the edge with it, you might actually find that there's no going back. And this can be very hard for people that are into fitness or into any kind of competitive sport. So for example, if you've been pushing yourself with weights, or you've been pushing yourself with cardio work, you might actually find that you get to such a limit during this time that you can't stop, or that your body is so dependent on your exercise routine that you get really depressed when you're not, or when you see that your bones are caving in but you're still trying to do something, you actually find that it's becoming a compulsion or a way of life that you can't stop. If you've got anything to do with compulsion in your life at the moment, even if you don't quite know if it's a job or a person, if you're kind of like me, like I'm not really attached to me, what is this compulsion about? There might be a few different things to iron out here if you don't actually see your compulsion. Because on average, every Scorpio has got something that they're very obsessive over, or something that really, really drives them. So maybe take a look at what that thing might be. I mean, it could be the need to be presented in a certain way. It could be perfectionism. It could be a certain ritual that you do every day before you go to bed. It could be maybe a certain type of way that you hold yourself. It might be a certain type of food that you say, I will always be vegan, I will never be anything else, and it becomes a very, very strong idea for you. So if you are there and you're really, really trying to keep yourself together with this purpose or this person or this way of being, it'll be a really nice time to dissolve. And how to do that is just basically try something different. Try something different between now and then. Between now and the end of June, life might make you make a different decision. You know, say if you're addicted to a computer, it might crash, you know, it might fall to pieces, it might break. If you say addicted to a certain type of relationship cycle with people, you might actually find that in that relationship cycle, people will disconnect, and you'll find that no matter who you date, if you are dating in a certain type of way, they just disconnect and they're blasé and they don't actually really want to relate to you at all. If you, for example, want to become really, really famous at what you are, you'll find that perhaps in the next year, although you're very good and you're very professional at what you do, you will just hit a wall. So why also is this an important part of your life at the moment is because you are actually ready for something else and you don't actually know it yet. So for example, if you are a reader like me, you may actually be ready for something completely different. You might be ready for ashram work, or you might be ready for meditation groups, you might be ready for something completely else. But if you are really focused on where you are, you will not see the bigger picture. And at the same time, with the people that you are with, you might be really obsessed with a certain type of circle that you have, but you might actually find that with time, these people fall away and what comes in is completely different. You might actually find that you want a completely different environment. Say, for example, if you are a professional person who works in a gold mine industry, you know, and you are doing things all the time, you're always working, always presenting yourself as like a really, really competitive worker, you might actually find that because you've been obsessed with that cycle of competition, you want to actually inside be somewhere else. Like you want to be in the mountains here, or you might want to be in Hawaii. You might want to just start like a freaking knitting workshop or something. You might want to do something completely different, and that's beautiful about you, because this is the time of year where you might not see yourself as vulnerable, but you completely are. And these people that come in sometimes can go either way. They can either say, oh, you're so sad, you're so beautiful, why so sad, when you're not, because they can see an undercurrent of issues there. Or they might completely take it the other way and push you and prod you and headbutt you for no reason. And then you actually find that when you're letting go and you surrender to these people and you don't actually care, that they lead you to something better after all. Thank you very much, Scorpio. On the front of marriages, okay, so on the front of marriages and relationships, it's a good idea to just let them follow through with what they got. In terms of relationships with people that you've just met, absolutely interesting to see where your passion lies and where exactly you have started this relationship. So for example, from the 13th of May, you've been falling in love with somebody just recently. You know, you might actually find that there's a certain type of cast of person, you know, or there's a certain type of energy of person that you're after in that person, but not actually particularly their soul. If you've got any kind of numbers games going, say you're thinking about your bank account too much, or you're thinking about the financial crisis, or you're thinking about anything that is really deeply set in the numbers game, if you're working with numbers, you might actually feel that they're falling off. And sometimes it's like you got to check your eyes. You know, you see one thing on the screen, a minute later it's a different thing. So numbers are playing games with you. Things that you've set in society, set up in society for yourself, are playing games with you, have been playing games with you. Anything that you thought was really, really rigid in reality is playing a game. So just play back. And how you do is best when you surrender. And for that matter, it's a really good time to continue with relationships with really innocent people or children, kids. Very nice to just play a game of hide and seek. Very nice to play a game of cards just to see where your passion is and how competitive you can get about really silly things. Anyway, thank you very much, Scorpio. I'm here all set up, so I've got the internet, I've got a place to stay. If you'd like to contact me and get a reading, I'd be happy to see you. Thanks a lot. Bye.